Welcome to the channel, guys. In today's video we're going to be doing part one of a review on the New York Institute of Photography course that you can take online. So let's get to the video.
Take a train ride just to see you.
If you're new to the channel, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dale and I'll be your host here on Dale Frazier Photography. As many of you know, if you've watched our videos previously, I graduated from New York Institute of Photography, and I want to say it was back in 2006. And back when I originally started taking the course, the first one that they had out, or they're more closely related to their original course, it was all done with film. Today they've revamped the course and it's all basically around digital photography. And one of the reasons that I'm taking the course, number one, is I want to be able to give you guys a fair and honest review of the course and would I recommend it to other people. It's been asked to me several times over the past several years about would I recommend the New York Institute of Photography for someone else. And for me, since I'm doing a photography channel now, and I know that the question may come up more often, I want to be able to give you a fair review answer, if you will, on the current course, because the one that I did back in the mail-in days is nothing like what they're doing now. We are officially halfway through the course at this point. Overall, there's 6 units in the New York Institute of Photography's photography class or course, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go over some questions that you guys have asked me, and then I've also got some great news. We've got another guy who's been sending me emails back and forth, and he is just recently enrolled in the New York Institute of Photography as well after talking to me. So where we're at, and I figure the easiest way to do this, we're just going to kind of go through each one of the little units and kind of discuss them a little bit, tell you my thoughts on it, and then at the end of this video I will also be sharing a way that you could save $50 if you're interested in taking the class, as well as some of the benefits that you would get as a student from the New York Institute of Photography. So unit number one is going to be very basic, and this was one of the questions that I was asked recently in the series of emails that I was talking to this other young man who's just recently enrolled into the course. The course is very, very basic at the very beginning of it, and basically if you've never even had a camera in your hand, the very first unit they're going to talk about the eye of the photographer. They're going to go over all the basic functions of your camera, and they're going to teach you a lot about the basic principles of a camera. If you've already been doing photography for a while, my suggestion is this: you're still going to be able to pick up some information. It may seem a little bit slow at the start for you because a lot of this stuff you may or may not be familiar with, but the great thing, and one of the things that I found just reading through all the material, watching the videos, and going through unit one, is it reminded me of some things that I had forgotten over the years. So in my mind, it was still, even though I've been doing photography for a long time, I did enjoy unit one, and it was overall put together nicely, and I thought it was great. They did a good job with bringing you up to date on the basic functions of your camera and some of the basic principles of shooting with a camera. While we're still talking about unit one, at the end of unit one you're going to be given a comprehension test. I believe there's 1 or 2 quizzes throughout unit one where you're going to be quizzed on how well you're retaining the information through the course so far. At the end of unit one there's a comprehension test, and you get scored on it 1 through 100 or whatever. I mean, it's typical, just like any other test that you would take in college or whatever else. And then you also get a photo assignment, and the photo assignment is actually where you're going to be applying some of the principles of what you've learned in unit one and actually taking photographs using your camera. And it doesn't matter, I've been using my Canon Rebel XT for almost all the photo assignments so far, so it doesn't matter if you've got you don't have to have a pro level camera, is what I'm getting at. You can take the course with the camera that you have. You can pass the photo assignments with the camera that you already have, so you're not out a bunch of money on top of trying to pay for the school. With that said, The school, the payment plans, they've got an option to where you can pay it up front all in full, or you can spread it out and make payment plans. And if I understood it correctly, they're not charging you interest on the payment plan. So it's not like a car loan where you're going to be paying more because you spread it out over payments. It's the course costs the same amount of money whether you do the payment plans or not. Unit number 2 is where you start getting into some of the fun, and you're going to be doing a little bit more, and I'm just going to kind of read this real quick and we'll go over it. But basically, you're going to be developing your eye as a photographer. You're going to be talking about image capture, image exposure, workflow, and image editing process. And that's going to be real light, guys. Don't be thinking it's going to be a full-blown course on Photoshop, because it's not. They're going to talk about some different photo editing software that you can use and how to organize your photos as you're taking them and going on with further in your career in photography. And then at the end, just like Unit 1, you're going to have a comprehension test, and then you also have a photo project that you have to do, which is also a graded assignment as well. One of the fun things that we did back when I took the course originally, and I've mentioned it, is it was mail-in. So when you would do your photo assignment, you'd take your film to the processor, get your film back, pick out your images that you were submitting for the photo assignment. You would mail that off to New York Institute of Photography, and then as they graded your work, they would mail it back to you, and you'd get a cassette tape in the mail, and it would be your instructor going over the photo assignment and talking about each one of your photos you submitted and give you your grade and everything else. And that was really high tech back in those days. It's actually kind of cool because it's all done online right now. You pick out your photos on your computer that you've taken with your digital camera, and you go ahead and you do your assignment, upload them, and generally within I've noticed for my 3 lessons that I've done so far, typically within a day, maybe 2 days, you've got your graded assignment, and you just go back to the course, like say Unit 1, and you go down at the bottom where you submitted. At the bottom of that page where you submitted the image, you're going to have a grade, and then you're also going to have basically a voicemail left from the instructor who graded your assignment. They go over your work and critique it with you. So it's actually a pretty cool process. The one thing that I will say about Unit 2, there's a lady that talks. There's several videos that you're going to be watching throughout the course. You've got reading material as well as videos that you're going to be watching. There is a lady that does a lot of film photography, and she's very, very excited about film photography. The one thing that I do want to point out, number 1, you don't have to have a film camera to take this course, and it's more or less designed more around the digital photography, since that is pretty much where the world is going. A lot of these videos are older videos because the main instructor's shooting with a Canon 5D, and I think he said his other camera is a 5D Mark II. They quit making those cameras 10 or 15 years ago. But 10 or 15 years ago, if that was the same time that this girl's talking about all the film stuff and how her film camera, she just gets better this and that from film, don't be discouraged by that, guys, because what I'm here to tell you is that digital photography has exploded, and it's gone so far the other direction that these newer digital cameras, and nothing against film, I love film black and white, but these new digital cameras do such a great job. They do such a great job with the dynamic range right into the camera, the megapixels that you're getting right out of the camera. You can actually develop larger prints now than what you could back 10 or 15 years ago. So again, you might get some pointers from the girl when she's talking about her film camera, but don't be discouraged by the way she keeps talking about how grand her film camera is. Again, you have to kind of keep it in relation, and knowing that the main instructor probably wasn't shooting with a 15-year-old camera, and in my mind, I'm thinking that the videos were probably produced 10 or 15 years ago. The cameras that are available over the last 5 years are light years ahead of the digital cameras from 5 years ago, and it's going to continue going that direction as technology increases and expands every year. So that's my little bit about Unit 2. It's still a great unit. Just don't get discouraged with her talking about film. Next up is going to be Unit 3, and I'll read this off real quickly. You're going to be introduced to natural and available light, artificial light and continuous light, artificial light using a flash, and then travel photography, landscape, and nature photography. Again, same with the other 2 lessons. Throughout the unit, you're going to be given several different quizzes. They're going to just basically try to see where you're at on retaining the information that you've been learning. And then you've got a Unit 3 comprehension test, which is going to be a test over the entire unit, as well as a photo project. If you guys have been following along with our channel very long, you know that I'm posting up some of the images that I've been doing and submitting for the photo assignments, as well as showing you and sharing my grades with you guys. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check out some of our other videos. I'll put a link up here to where you can look at that. The next thing that I quickly want to talk about is some of the benefits that you get from being a student with the New York Institute of Photography. Number one of the big benefits that you do get right off the bat is you get access to what they've got set up as a forum, and it's a student forum. If you guys are struggling with anything, you can post up questions in there depending on what class you're in or what unit you're in, and you can get help from other students, and a lot of times you've got photo mentors that are in there as well that can help answer your questions also. As far as discounts that are out there, number one, they talk about it a lot in Unit 1, Unit 2, and not as much in Unit 3, but they talk about the discount you get from Adorama Camera Company. At one time, I understood it to be a decent discount, 10 or 15% off, but I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I don't know of anybody that's getting that discount. I've checked, I've done the things that they said to do to get the discount, and I can't get anybody from the company to reply. I'm not knocking Adorama. I'm just saying that NYIP stresses a lot about how you can get a discount from this particular company, and I'm just not seeing it happening. Here's where some of the great things do come in though. Adobe, if you're interested in getting Adobe Photoshop or Lightroom, they offer 60% off for students, and that's an amazing discount in my mind, that you're getting that kind of a discount, because that would almost pay for half of your course if you just took the discounts that you're given from Adobe. It would pay a lot of your college tuition is what I'm getting at. That's a great deal. Another company is called Alien Skins. I don't know anything about them. They're 30% off. It'd be something that you could look at. Another company is going to be a stock photography company called Alamy. They're one of the bigger stock companies in the world, and you get 100% commission for any of the stock photos that you submit that get accepted and sell during your first year. You get 100% commission, which is unheard of. I've just never seen that. You would just have to decide yourself as a photographer if stock photography is something that you want to take up. There's another company called ArcSoft. I'm not real familiar with this company, but you get 35% off, and that would just be something that you could look at. One of the next companies down on the list, and it's around number 6 or 7, is a company called Topaz. You get up to 25% off of their products, which are plugins for Lightroom and Photoshop, and I can go to bat for this company and tell you the stuff that they make is amazing. You can take the digital noise from a Canon Digital Rebel like we're using and take every bit of the noise out of that, shooting at a higher ISO. The stuff that you can do with this software is light years ahead of where we were just a few years ago. I don't know how long this company's been around. I just know that I use their products and I love them, and that 25% off is going to help pay for some of your tuition as well. And it's something that if you're using, especially like I am with the course, I'm using the older Digital Rebel. It's very noisy when you get up into the high ISO, and this company, their program and their software really works well, and I couldn't recommend them enough, to the point that I would recommend them even without the discount, because it's such a great company. The next one's called D-Photo. You get 6 months free. Don't know anything about them. Be something you could pull up and Google. And the next one's called Perks Connect. Again, it's not something I'm interested in, nor has been anything that I've talked about or know about, because I'm just not interested. But it is something that I would say as a student you could look into it, because there may be some discounts. Maybe I need to look into it. I don't know. If I get time, I will. One of the other things that we're not going to talk about right now, but it is a possibility, is another benefit that you get while you're as a student for the New York Institute of Photography is you do have the option to apply for the membership with the CPP, and that is going to be, it says on here, certification. And if you guys are familiar with the Professional Photographers of America or any of that stuff, that's something that I think that would potentially have some interest and be worth looking into. It is not cheap. However, I believe some of the benefits that you would get with that is something to look into as well. And again, since we're just basically doing the review on the first half of the first 3 units of the New York Institute of Photography, I'm not really going to go into that. I'm just saying that is a benefit that you may want to look into if you're thinking about taking the photography course. Now, as we continue throughout the year, we're going to finish up this course and I'll bring you the full review on the other half of the New York Institute of Photography. But so far, like I expressed to the guy that just recently enrolled, if you're new to photography, this is a great course. It's relatively inexpensive, especially when you compare it to going to some of your major universities where you may be paying anywhere from $70 to $700 a credit hour for college courses. You're going to get a lot of information and a lot of, for less than what one college class could potentially cost you at your higher end universities. You're going to get the entire course. If you've been doing photography for a while, the first, like I say, the first unit or two is going to be a little bit slow. If you go through and you read the material and you do everything, I promise you're going to pick up something that you either hadn't thought of or forgot about, or just something that you'd never learned in the past. So I think that's actually pretty cool as well. You do have the option to buy some printed material. When I originally went through the course, we got a book, basically a big binder. When I originally took the course, we got this big binder, okay? And it's got, which is actually pretty cool, you've got a lot of different books that come with the course. Now, this is the original course, not the online course, but you do have the option to buy some of the printed material, and I don't know if it's going to be any of this stuff or not, but this, in my mind, is actually priceless because it's going into detail on all the different lessons. It's also, half of these that I'm flipping over, you've got a self-check quiz on the back of each one of these. If you guys are not familiar with this at all, and again, I don't know 100% sure what you get with the printed material, but if you'll send your student advisor an email, she can send you a link to where you can download all the stuff for free instead of buying the printed material. Again, this is all stuff from the original course when I took it when it was back in mail-in, and if you guys are interested in purchasing any of this stuff, I've seen them on eBay pretty regular, to where somebody will have the entire course that they had enrolled in or whatever, and they're done with it and they don't need it any longer, and you can pick up sometimes these books all these books for less than $100. And it would be something if you wanted the supplemental material. It's actually pretty cool in my mind. But again, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up, trying to keep it short. This is a review on the first half of the New York Institute of Photography. I think so far it's a great course. Like I say, some of the videos are a little outdated, but the majority of the information is still up to date, if that makes sense. Again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. And until next week we're going to go ahead and we're going to start shooting, and we're going to be doing what we're going to call focus stacking. But until then, be sure to check out one of our other videos. Go over and watch some of our video shorts. Let us know what you think. If you guys have any questions or concerns specifically about the New York Institute of Photography, leave your comments down below. I'll do everything I can to help you. Oh, and with that said, if you would like to save $50 on your course, there's going to be a link down below to where you can actually use a code. They're going to take $50 off your course. Yes, they do give me $50 as well. We both save $50. So again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. And let's go shoot some stuff.